Well, welcome back. This is the Pulse here on Joy News. Now, this matter of illegal mining or galamsey will not go away anytime soon. Now, calls are intensifying for government to declare a state of emergency as the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference asked its voice to civil society, insisting that government must adopt a radical approach to tackle illegal mining in the hardest hit areas. Now, in a strongly worded statement, the bishops described the devastation of rivers, forests, and farmlands as a grave sin against God, and one that the destruction poses an existential threat to Ghana's future. The conference is also making sweeping demands to end the galamsey surge. My colleague Caleb Ziblem joins me in the studio with details of that statement. So, Caleb, walk us through what the Catholic Bishops' Conference is saying.
Yes, Elton. So they are not happy, and then they see the current fight against galamsey as half-measured. So they don't think that the state is being forceful in trying to combat galamsey as the state should do. And they have if you can go to the next slide, they've been speaking about some of the things that so far they've identified. And one of the things is that politicians and high-ranking individuals are complicit in the galamsey fight. So they believe that the states should go after these people, the politicians, the MPs, and they have a list of them.
Right.
MPs, MMDCs, politicians, and other party executives are all part of the problem of galamsey, and they believe that the state needs to go against these individuals head on. Now, they've come up with a list of directives for the government. I counted about 7 of them.
Right.
But then there are 4 main ones that we should go through. The first one is that they want dedicated galamsey courts established by the Chief Justice or by the judiciary. And we know the Chief Justice has been speaking about this. And he has even made calls that he's thinking about setting up a special court for galamsey cases. So that's one of the main issues that the Catholic Bishop Conference are
talking about. And very soon, we'll hear from the acting Chief Justice, who is also not mentioning words regarding the issue of galamsey.
Yes, and also, they say that a special anti-galamsey task force needs to be set up. And there's a similar one being
already underway.
Yes, 9 months has been set up.
Right.
I don't know if the Catholic Bishop Conference wants something else, because they say a permanent, corruption-proof anti-galamsey task force. So I don't know if the name does not fit under this category according to the Catholic Bishop Conference. Also, they want a state of emergency declared. It should be targeted in the mining areas and also the water bodies. Also, they want the government to revise and enforce existing mining laws and enforce stricter penalties. And we know under this administration, there's been a controversial directive that illegals, foreigners who have been caught engaging in galamsey are deported instead of being persecuted in the country. So that's also something that the Catholic bishops have been talking about. Now, something interesting from the statement is that they said in January and May 2025, they met with President Mahama and then speaking on the galamsey issues. And according to them, his responses focused narrowly on economic gains.
From the sector? From
the illegal mining fight.
Right.
They say they spoke with Mahama in January and May 2025, and then his responses to them on the illegal mining seem to be focused narrowly on economic gains. So when we speak to them, we should understand what that conversation was with President Mahama, and then his responses that made them believe that he was focused on economic gains and not fully into the fight against illegal mining. And then also, they say, based on, mainly because of the media press that President Mahama did a few days ago, that he seems to be downplaying the issue and that a full force of the state needs to be taken head on to be able to stop this galamsey issue.
All right, thank you very much, Caleb. And so that's the Catholic Bishops' Conference making this particular demand. They are also demanding the declaration of a state of emergency in the mining areas. Well, they are not alone. The University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, is also warning that public universities could be brought to a standstill in the coming days if decisive action is not taken by government. The association is threatening to withdraw its services in protest. Professor Akudugu reiterates that UTAG will proceed with shutting down public universities as outlined in their July 17, 2025 statement if a state of emergency is not declared.
I believe that something drastic has to take place for us to be able to effectively deal with this demonstration. And so whatever we said, we still stand by it. We are having our biennial congress just the end of the month. And so a final decision as to how to proceed will be made on that point.
We are sure that there should be drastic decision, and a drastic decision include you holding on to your shutdown of public universities.
Correct. Have you heard of the water shortage in the central region? University of Cape Coast is not exempted from that shortage. The pollution and all the health implications associated with Galamsey, university lecturers and students are not exempted from that. So this is a matter of life and death. And so it is when you are healthy and you are alive that you'll be thinking about going to school. You're thinking about being able to learn and be able to focus. That aside, if you look at it, we are the people who train, and it's at the last end of the human resource. We are the funnel or the gatekeepers. And we train our students in environmental sustainability and all the rest of it. So how do we continue? What am I going to tell my students about preserving the environment at this point in time when the environment is being destroyed at the rate that will put all of us at risk?
Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni has also called on national leaders to implement bold, far-reaching measures to eradicate the existential threat of illegal small-scale mining, Galamsey, if you like. Now, his remarks were delivered on his behalf by Justice Hafi Sata Amaleboba at the opening of the 2025 Ghana Bar Association Conference, currently underway in Wa, in the Upper West Region.
Company Limited continues to warn of a severe water crisis in the near future if immediate action is not taken to address this problem. Galamsey has stripped away topsoil and vegetation, leading to severe erosion and rendering land unusable for farming. The landscape of affected communities is scarred by excavation, leaving it barren and prone to further damage. Socially, it has contributed to the displacement of farmers, farm hands, and whole families as farmlands are converted to mining sites. It has also increased poverty and potential health issues due to contaminated water and mercury exposure, impacting food security and the livelihoods of several local communities. Economically, while providing some income, the environmental damage and shift from agriculture has led to higher living costs and lower food production in affected regions. How can we also forget the national security challenges brought about by the menace of Galamsey, as the influx of illegal miners, often accompanied by foreigners, have been linked to an increase in criminal activities in affected communities. The repeal and replacement of the small-scale gold mining law, PNDC Law 218 of 1989, by the Minerals and Mining Act 703 in 2006, to provide a more comprehensive and regulatory framework for small-scale mining, has not eliminated illegal small-scale mining. Indeed, in the years after, Galamsey has become worse, as the measures we have employed to combat Galamsey seem half-hearted and unable to curb this menace, which is a threat to the country's survival. Considering the unspeakable death, pain, and destruction that Galamsey has brought to this country, I urge political leadership to take bold and far-reaching measures to bring this menace to a long overdue end.
And as the speech by the Acting Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni read on his behalf at the ongoing Bar Association Conference in the Upper West Regional Capital, Meanwhile, government spokesperson Felix Kwachofosu, speaking on the Super Morning Show, said President Mahama has not entirely ruled out declaring a state of emergency.
On the matter of state of emergency, you are right. The president said that there are conventional approaches that are currently being deployed that he believes would help us achieve the objective of wiping out this canker once and for all. And that when it becomes necessary, a state of emergency may be declared. The reason being that a state of emergency is a pretty severe measure. I'm sure you are fully aware. It essentially means that you set aside laws as they are and adopt extraordinary, sometimes very harsh, very drastic measures in order to beat back a particular problem. It comes with its own difficulties, and therefore the declaration of same must be based on tangible reasoning. You must have sufficient basis to do that, so that you are very clear that the consequences that will result will be worth the effort. And as president, you do know that he has to take that decision on the basis of information available to him and what he perceives to be the capabilities of the assets that he has deployed to fight this canker. He believes earnestly that currently some gains are being made that could be sustained. And as and when we get to a stage where it is absolutely necessary to deploy those measures, that will create some discomfort for ordinary citizens and may involve measures that may not necessarily be in tandem with the way that our laws should function and all that. He will take the decision as leader. So let me say that he has not ruled out a state of emergency. He just believes that we need to give ourselves a bit more time.
Well, let's move away from Galamsey. And the Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority, Wisdom Okudeku, has revealed that the Ghana Revenue Authority has opened discussions with the authority over its indebtedness of over 376 million cedis. A technical team, he says, has been set up to work the modalities for the payment. The NIA weeks ago disconnected the GRA from its identity verification system after the tax authority failed to settle a debt. The development disrupted clearance of goods at the port as importers, some of them, were unable to do so. Now, speaking at an event to mark this year's National ID Day, Mr. Deku said GRA has since approached the authority for talks, but stressed that the system will only be restored once payment is effected.
Per the fees and charges, GRA was one of our off-takers. So there was an MOU we signed with them that they were supposed to share the data we share with them. They will pay us. So it's been about since 2021, they've never paid. And you know, that's what we use to maintain our systems and everything. So we had to, after several letters that was written to them, they couldn't come back. And we had our option than to disconnect them. But the good news is that their board chairman, that's Honorable Ricket Hagan, approached my board chairman to, that is Honorable Afechi Moses. And they had a talk. After that, the GRA boss also contacted me. So I think we are good now.
So what was the resolve?
No, they are willing to pay. They are willing to pay. So I'm sure by ending of this month, we will have a good news from them.
So doesn't mean you've connected them back?
No, we've not connected them back now, for now.
What's happening to the, because I remember when you disconnected them, it left some importers and exporters stranded at the port. So what's happening?
It's still the same. Still the same until they pay, make some payment. But as I told you, they are willing to settle down, and we know we need to. It's government to government, so we need to sit down at the table and discuss. It happened that
timeline
by close of this month. By close of the month, they should be paying. In fact, they've even written to us to even do more, provide them with more services. So, in good faith, why not? We are willing to settle down with them. Yes.
Well, pressure is mounting on government to act as fears of a looming maize shortage grows. At Ejura, bags of maize are rotting away as farmers struggle to find buyers. Weeks without rain have worsened the situation, leaving farmlands parched and forcing many producers to consider abandoning cultivation for next season. But Emmanuel Bradkweku visited the community and he's been speaking to some of the farmers.
It's Monday morning at Ejura, one of Ghana's largest trading hubs for cereals and grains. From groundnut and beans to rice and maize, the market supplies thousands of households across Ghana and beyond. But in recent times, maize has seen a sharp decline in sales. The fresh maize sells at 500 cedis, and the old ones go for 450. These new prices, coupled with a reclining market sale, are presenting challenges to the maize value chain. The farmers and traders are not enthused as they are seen all over haggling the new prices. Farming is a lifeline of Ejura and its surrounding communities. On a scorching afternoon, Idrisu Mumuni and his family are busy drying freshly harvested maize. They spread the grains across a tarpaulin, relying on sun and air to reduce the moisture content. With no storage facilities, the family must rush to package and sell the maize on the next market day. But for Idrisu, the returns hardly match the efforts he invests in production.
The maize business isn't good enough. For rich farmers, they're able to keep theirs. But for us who have no storage facility, we must sell immediately.
After the 2024 dry spell, the price of maize has fallen by more than half, from 1,200 cedis to just 400 cedis on the market. Yet, with production costs soaring, the sharp decline has left many farmers frustrated and delusioned. Ghana experiences a glut of maize during the main crop season from June to September, but despite the bustle and noise of the crowded Ejura market, traders say business has been slow and their pockets tell the story.
It looks as if stealing is better than farming. Every time they are talking about cocoa, they would neglect us. Our work is more hectic than the cocoa farmers.
Frustration on the market is preempting the farmers from producing more. While some have opted to hoard the maize at home, others are compelled to leave the heaps of their maize harvest on their farms at the mercy of the weather. Salifu Al-Samin farms on this 40-acre maize plantation.
The ones we sent home, we've not been able to sell it. So there's no reason going to add this one.
I can see they are even rotting away.
Yes, of course. We've covered it because we anticipate there might be rain.
Former Member of Parliament for Ejura, Mohammed Isifu Pangabu, is one of the lead farmers in the community.
No farmer can break even with 400. No farmer.
This year, lots of farmers will lose their...
All farmers are losing. I operate at a loss. So if you don't take time to address it, and we'll lose this year, next year, the farmers will reduce.
As the traders endure the slow market, a pressing concern emerges: delayed rains.
For the past 2 weeks, we have not experienced any major rain.
This is felt on the fields where the soils are drying up already before farmers can plant for the next season. Salifu Al-Samin was fortunate to have started cultivating on his 40-acre farmland.
As you can see, there is a drought. If you look around, farmers have harvested their maize, but yet still they can't plant. Initially, if there was rainfall, if you plant your maize at this time, you are late. We cannot be sitting here without feeding our family. We are not lazy too. We are working.
But until an immediate intervention, these farmers may have to grapple with the poor market sales and struggle to feed the country. For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright-Kweku.
Well, traders affected by the fire at the Adum Blue Light Markets have welcomed a decision by the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly to allow them to rebuild the market. A rampaging fire on March 21, 2025 touched the markets as wares and structures housing the traders were destroyed in a fire. A decision by the city authorities to lead the rebuilding effort was met with strong resistance by the traders, who insisted they wanted to self-fund the reconstruction. The head of physical planning at KMA, Benjamin Ajinim Boatem, tells Joy News the Assembly has reached an agreement to allow the traders to reconstruct the market pending an approval of the technical drawing and specification provided by the authorities.
Hundreds of shops and stores were razed in a fire at a Adum Light Market. Wares running into thousands of cedis were lost to the fire, including mobile phones and accessories, jewelry and clothing. The area was cordoned as the traders counted their loss in anticipation of rebuilding the market. But the affected traders resisted the local assembly's attempt to rebuild the market for them. Head of physical planning at KMA, Benjamin Ajinim Boatin, says the traders have been given the green light to rebuild the market themselves, while the traders are expected to self-fund the project. City authorities, on the other hand, will provide the technical support, including designs.
Blue light engulfed with fire, and traders want to go back and redevelop and have some form of livelihood. So Mayor, when it happened, the king wasn't around. After he came, Mayor went there to brief the king. The king has given green light to some of the few things that we can do. So currently what we are doing now, I think, of course, the site has been cleared. They are done with drains, and then we are trying to see how best we can have fire-resistant materials and fire prevention equipment as part of the design, so that in the event of any fire, it will be the effect will be minimal. Yes. So currently, that's what I've engaged the traders severally. Almost every week they are in my office. They want to go to site as quickly as possible. They are going to build it themselves. They've submitted a list of contractors, and we are discussing with them, and then we advise them as to which one they should pick for the reconstruction. Currently, my office is doing the designs, and then once we are done, we will give the work schedule to the contractors, and then they will come out with their own bills and materials that they are going to use.
The traders have welcomed the new arrangement by the city authority. This is the leader of the Adum Blue Light traders.
Yani kumasi kropon bejwana sata na regional minister ana na wo na ye mayo no mai. In fact e modin bia so mo bia o mo boy enu achi na mayo nso bae mayo kura sata me nyamfa no me si akonwa so e de ono kura so na anopa ne awia ne anadwo nyina ne na na we ya enti ye ni be si akonwa so nso onya yemu o mo me ati asese o mo maye kwan say yemra asaso sine nsa metra so ntino odias ama engineers wo krom ha it is amusha engineers no mne yen eye drains ni nyina tambia no ba e be hwe nti ye ni kemefo ne o muntam ne de problem bi no sisi na de kwayen say ye say pese yen akasa yesi ya de fi say ye mu say ka se de to aban so a kejetia de wo krofum de wo ha ni nyina yentimi sie nti wo muti ase maye de atwa ni say time can take me from edi drawings be ma contractors no na wo maye na ye nyina akohia ho ni ahwe de efisi betimi aboaye eni adwuma ye no.
The KMA is currently awaiting the selection of a contractor to start the reconstruction process. From Kumasi, for Joy News, Oyementiria reporting.
And we'll take a short break here on the pause and return with more on the program.